updated every few years, which is significant because you can see trend lines develop over decades in important areas like revenue versus expenses, salaries, handle, marketing efforts, legislation, and comparative cost indexes against other industries such as Major League Baseball, the NFL, just to name a few. Unfortunately, not all of the most critical data has been collected by us or anyone else in the industry with any regularity or accuracy over the last couple of decades. The biggest current gap in data for harness racing is handle. The USTA used to publish handle figures in the trotting and pacing guide each year. Unfortunately, and through no fault of theirs, those numbers were never very accurate. The USTA had to rely on tracks to self-report, and as often was the case, revisions were made from year to year, greatly altering the original numbers, leaving little reliability in the accuracy of what was being reported. HTA has attempted to gather handle data with little success, and even if we were successful, that data would not represent the entire universe of harness racing handle for North America. The lack of data is frustrating to us and difficult to explain to some. For instance, racetracks across North America are converting into racinos at a rapid rate. A large number of these racinos are owned by casino companies that are renowned for knowing more about their customer and for using sophisticated methods to analyze and forecast everything from labor usage to food and beverage services. Any major casino knows that if they add one more slot machine to their floor, what it will do to their overall handle. Beyond that, they know if their return will be higher if it is a penny machine or a $5 machine, and they know where it should be located on the floor to generate the highest returns. They have invested in the research and technology they need to understand and therefore grow their business. Unfortunately for harness racing, we haven't been able to make such an investment. Instead of doing the research to determine when it's profitable to have a superfecta or a pick 3 or finding the takeout rate at which we will get the most churn from the bettors and thus the most profit, we go with gut instinct. While a gut feeling or experience can have a place in making management decisions, those decisions are also easier to make when there's some empirical data to analyze. New wagers are tried at racetracks every year, and the track decides whether to keep that wager around or abandon it based solely on the handle. We do not have the data available to understand or support how new wagers are affected by other variables such as takeout rate, field size, placement on the card, or other simulcast signals. There's been a lot of talk over the past few years about purses up, handle down. We can determine where purses have been and where they are now, but we have no idea where handle has been and how it compares to current figures. The USTA does a great job of recording purses for each race because the information is included in every single chart for every single race. The USTA has allowed me to dissect the purse information from the charts for HTA tracks going back to the 2000 season. This has provided a benchmarking tool for HTA member tracks to see where purses have been and how each track relates to other tracks throughout North America. We can see how purses are distributed among classes, average field size for each class, and percent change from prior years, to name a few key indicators. Where we have trouble is analyzing how all these factors impact our daily business. We need to be able to tie in what we know about the purses and field size with other aspects of our operations. We do not lack people who want this information. We are a business driven by information. Just look at any past performance line. We certainly understand the importance of evaluating past and current performance in order to predict future performance, but we lack the tools and personnel necessary to generate it. I get on average 1 call per week from a racetrack, the press, a trade group, even state agencies looking for handle figures. Tom Charters called 2 weeks ago and asked me to speak about handle and what the trends are. All I can say is the HTA tracks are down about 11% from 2006 to 2007, which according to reports I saw last week is exactly what thoroughbred tracks have seen this summer. That's about as much as I can report because we've only been able to get small chunks of data since we began requesting it a year and a half ago. At this point, we have to rely on each track to self-report because most racing commissions either don't publish the data or if they do, it is outdated by 1 or 2 years by the time it gets out there. And then when it is out there, we find there is no consistency in the vocabulary. We have found several instances where 2 commissions use the same term to define 2 different types of handle in simulcast wagering. So in essence, we are comparing apples to oranges. Also, not every commission is collecting the same information, and again, many are just relying on the tracks to self-report. When I first started working in racing, I did charts for Equibase at Wyoming Downs. This is a great system that provides lots of valuable information for the thoroughbred industry. In addition to past performances, chart callers collect all wagering information for every pool on every race. They record purse information and attendance. And while I'll be the first to admit that those charts are not always 100% accurate, the wagering information I believe to be correct because it comes straight from the mutual department, and the system has checks and balances to ensure its accuracy. It's a system that understands that there is a natural link between betting information and past performance information, a recognition that the race and the betting on the races are part of the same equation. There are other sources of valuable information that exist today that are underutilized. Two I'll mention briefly are the transcripts from the HTA annual meeting and the Racetrack Industry Program Symposium on Racing. This makes new ideas and discussions of important issues available to racing personnel even in times of tight budgets, when it might not be possible for middle management and lower level management to travel. Between the two conferences, some of the most gifted minds in the business speak on a wide range of topics that can provide value in each sector of racing. Transcripts for all these panels at these conferences are available for free to anyone on the web. At HTA, we strive to provide information that is timely, helpful, and of interest to racetrack managers. Much of this information is sitting out there waiting for someone to come along, recognize its value, and do something with it. The last point I will make is that harness racing needs to have personnel capable of doing something with data and information from all sides of the business, and needs to have the foresight to understand that the more we understand about ourselves and the marketplace, the better off we will be. Ultimately, in an industry that relies so heavily on past performance when it comes to horses, for us not to understand that past and current performance can tell us much about where we've been, where we are, and where we are going, or hope to be going, is unacceptable. I urge all vested interest in racing to begin to collaborate more and be willing to share information on a timely basis for the betterment of the entire industry. Thank you.